All right. Today, this press conference was called to talk about our transfer portal class, some changes we made within our organization. But I would be remiss if I did not address Greg Brooks Jr. and the situation that unfolded in a interview that was done on Good Morning America. There's many things I can't say because it is pending litigation, obviously, but here's what I can tell you. It is factually incorrect to state that I was not there by Greg's side through this ordeal. I was there on multiple occasions. We had somebody from my staff that was there virtually every single day. We love Greg. We love him for the person that he is, for the competitor that he is, and the battler that he is, and can only wish him continued progress as he goes through an incredibly difficult time. But it was important for me to set the record clear as to my care, my love for Greg Jr. during this very difficult time. And again, I want to be clear that any player that is part of this program, I am going to be involved in making sure that they receive the best care, the best support, and I'm part of that. So that was just extremely important for me to talk about. Look, you can question me as a football coach. You can question me in terms of the things that we do on the field, but off the field, as a parent, as a husband, as somebody that is actively involved in every community that I've been involved with, this is where the line is drawn with me. And that comment struck a nerve with me. It hit my heart. Because that's not why I'm in this business. I've been in it for our players, will always be in it for our players, and it rattled me that somebody could possibly be so factually incorrect in stating that I was not part of Greg Brooks Jr.'s care and support. And the support was the entire university, the entire community. So I needed to make sure that that record was clear. All right. We've put together, kind of some talking points. Obviously we don't have a high school player that will sign today. All of our high school players signed in the December signing period, and at that time we were able to talk about them individually, ask and answer questions about them. We have 15 of them here that are in our off-season program. We're excited about them, but we also supplemented that with a transfer portal class that by many publications felt it was an elite group. And we had 16 total transfers come in, 8 on offense, 7 on defense, and 1 special teams player. And we're pretty excited about that. They give us a experienced group that has played high level football and blends to the existing program that we have. So from that perspective, combined with 3 straight top 10 high school signing classes, we wanted now to enter into adding to that roster. And I think we addressed it And we believe that this group now is such that we can compete for a championship. I think when we talk about some other things, we're very appreciative of our fans and the generosity. The $1 million match that I put out there relative to NIL, it looks like we've met our goals, and I couldn't be more excited about that and the direction that allows us to continue to move relative to NIL. So we had an anonymous gift that matched it in its totality, plus I think there'll be a release here in the next 48 hours that we also were able to match the initial NIL. So that's pretty exciting. We shifted, as I mentioned, we shifted some duties around within our support staff. I'll be able to talk about a few of those. And I think it's suffice to say that we've got some change, but some continuity, which I like the blending of both as it relates to our support staff. And then, finally, we take this group now and are excited about what spring ball looks like for us. So that's kind of the overall tenor. It's unfortunate that we had to lead in the manner that I did, but I thought, again, it was absolutely crucial to address when my integrity and character is being attacked. I need to respond. And again, if it was football related, if it was about play calling or selection of recruits, that's open for anyone. But when it comes to the care and the love for one of my former players, I needed to set the record straight. So with that, we'll open it up to questions.
Brian, I was just curious, with RevShare coming on board eventually, were you asked to streamline any of your operations here, or did that precipitate?
No,
okay.
no, and I think that's a natural question to ask, and that revenue sharing comes to us, assuming that the House NCAA decision, is finalized. But I know there are some programs around the country that have had to cut back, but that has not been the case here.
Yeah, Coach, bringing in Alex Atkins as tight ends coach and then run game coordinator, can you maybe just explain the run game coordinator aspect of what he's going to be doing and how he's going to be working with Joe Sloan and Brad Davis to help with the run game?
Yeah, so first of all, excited about Alex and his addition to our staff. He brings a great deal of experience as a coordinator, but more importantly, his depth and background in the run game. As an offensive line coach, he adds another perspective in that room with Brad. He will not be, stepping on Brad's toes. Brad's done an incredible job. This is really having somebody that will coach the tight ends and have a specific focus towards our run game and how it marries and matches to what I'm looking for within our overall offensive structure. So having somebody that is dedicated to that, having somebody that has his eye on it every day, I felt where we are today that was a great need, and to get somebody with his kind of experience and building run games in particular. So again, I just think the need, the timing, all of those things make it a great fit.
You touched upon it a little bit already, but with the return of Nussmeier, this transfer class you've got and other talent, how excited are you to get to work with this team in the spring, and what kind of team do you think this could be?
Well, I'm excited to be, back in this building. Certainly the 2.5 weeks that the head coach gets on the road is a very small period of time, but one that's very intense, and so you're out of the building. So you don't really get a chance to spend time with, over 30 players that are coming back into the program. So I'm just excited to get a chance to be around our guys, continue to build the chemistry of the 2025 team. But the big picture plan is exactly what you said, it was to surround Garrett on offense, to give Blake the pieces that he needs on defense to have a championship roster. And I believe we did that on paper. Now we need to go to work on that, and that work is in the details over the next few months.
Coach, with Colin Hurley, how's his recovery going, and when do you expect, if and when, he will return?
Well, as you know, we've left because of his age. At 17, he's under 18. We've left a lot of that up to the family. I've been there to see him on multiple occasions. Progress is real. He is back in Jacksonville, and reports in talking to his dad yesterday were really positive. So we're, again, this is another scenario where there's a recovery process here for him. But I think everybody's optimistic.
Bringing in someone like Nick Anderson, a big body wide receiver, how important is that? And also, second question, bringing in Michael at the quarterback spot after having a depleted QB room, how big was that as well?
Well, all of these pieces were clearly part of the design in what we were trying to achieve in, getting Garrett some more weapons. And then securing the investments that we've made across the board. Obviously Colin puts us in a different situation. He was healthy at the time when we went through the portal. We hope that he will be able to join us later. But Michael is a young man that has SEC experience, and we wanted to supplement that in our room. If you're going to go out and upgrade your roster in the manner that we did, continue to develop your football team, I think we all know that at some time, number 2 may have to be called upon. And if he does, we feel like we've got in Colin and certainly with Michael, we've got 2 guys that can go in and continue to compete for a championship.
Hey, Coach, now that you've, gotten to see some of these guys, they're working out all of that, who kind of jumps out from the portal that you think, look, we needed this at this position, and this is a guy that looks like he can help us?
I think experience at the tight end position to marry with, a really exceptionally young player in Tradez, but bring in Bauer Sharp, who's got a lot of experience and, a veteran kind of presence there at the tight end position. He's been outstanding. I think Jack Pyburn brings more than just his ability on the field, but how he impacts everybody in the locker room and in the weight room. His demeanor, his attitude is infectious. I think those 2 guys. I think we've already talked about the wide receivers. I think all of them have been working out hard with our quarterbacks, and I can tell you just by the numbers, they live up to what the speed quotient and things that have been out there about them. We're backing that up with Catapult. So all of those wide receivers are making an impact. And I'd say, Mansour Delaney has been very, very, I think, impactful at the cornerback position. We've got some younger guys, some guys with experience, but we don't have a veteran player back there, and his leadership and just the way he's handled himself has been outstanding.
Coach, do you have an estimate on how many guys you'll be looking for in the portal in the next window? And do you know if Kyron Lacey can go through your pro day in March?
I think we go into this next portal window with no expectations of we need to get somebody out of the spring portal. It would have to be something that just was a right fit for us. So we don't go into the second portal with any expectations like we had going into the December portal. relative to Kyron, I know his lawyer just recently provided some information. That's all I know. We're going to have to monitor that situation, probably, before we make any decisions relative to his status in pro day.
Brian, I know you probably addressed this before, but Garrett Nussmeier, coming here and finding a quarterback who has his background, in football, and a dad who's a coach, what advantages has that been for him during his career and now going to his final year?
Well, I think it starts back with him staying here when Jaden Daniels is here. Very easily could have jumped into the transfer portal. I think being the son of a coach, maybe there is that, I would say, understanding or conversation about persistence and waiting for your opportunity. And I think as a coach's son, a lot of those things were probably discussed. And I think at the end of the day, I'm sure it was Garrett's decision, but he comes from a coach's family, and those things were always discussed. And so I think that probably led to him waiting for his opportunity. And then, being from a football family, he's going to understand how the chemistry of a team and leading by example and surrounding yourself with great people is much more important than just any individual award. And I think that's what he brings to the culture of our football team. And I think that, and I don't think I'm reaching, is something that when you're around the game your entire life lends itself to thinking that way.
Coach, can you talk about Trey'Dez Green and him out on the basketball court? How does that affect him trying to put on muscle and timetable on Colin Hurley?
Yeah, so certainly we're excited about Trey'Dez, and this is something that he wanted to do. This is something his family and I talked about, and we talked about that this was going to be hard. You're playing in the SEC in both basketball and football. He's probably lost a little bit of weight, but he's involved in our weight training. So he is training physically in the weight room with our guys. He is not tapped out of that, which obviously we're excited about. But he's lost a little bit of weight. Running up and down the court from a cardiovascular standpoint is a little bit different than, cutting off the C gap. So I think from that perspective, we're fine because we're going to continue to train him and really excited about his future. Obviously, we're all looking at Colin, and again, it's a day-to-day situation. And talking to his dad, Charlie, there's really good progress. So I think we all come at from a similar perspective, is that we're hoping for the best, but don't have any certain timetable as to when he might be back.
With all the staff changes that you guys have had, not just with Slade, obviously, but with Bob Ziacco moving on and whatnot. So
Yeah.
what's the situation with the special teams and coaching and how that's going to be sort of filled out?
Yeah, so I think, first of all, we've hired Aman Anad to be involved in our special teams. He was at Grambling. Really excited about him. We'll add another special teams coach to the mix there to just support that unit, those units in particular, and feel really good about that. We've added defensive analyst Noah Joseph, who's an experienced coach, both on and off the field, primarily worked with Blake at Missouri. So there's, obviously they're very familiar. He'll work in the back end of our defense. Tim Rattay, who many know probably from his time at Louisiana Tech, will work on the offensive side of the ball. We've hired another offensive assistant from Oregon, Antonio Parks. He'll work with the wide receivers. And and we have a couple of others that are pending HR that I can't talk about today. But I think in total, we're talking about 8 positions, and we're excited about those that have moved on as well because they've been given great opportunities. Certainly Slade Nagel getting the chance to be a coordinator, and Bob Diaco getting a chance to work with Bill Belichick. I think I go across the board. Every one of the coaches, Coach Fitch now gets a coordinator's position at Charlotte. All of them got leadership positions or positions where it can enhance their career. So we're really excited about that.
With what you're moving on along the offensive line, including Mason, how important is this spring for those guys to develop the continuity needed to, hit the fall running kind of thing? And what are you seeing in that group?
Yeah, so, I think we can start with, in the portal, Braylon Moore and Josh Thompson will be 2 that will be part of that mix in the spring. But it's important to point out that, there's going to be great competition. And you saw that in the bowl game, how really if you look across the board, Miles Frazier is the only player that does not return in that unit. So all of those guys will get the opportunity to compete, plus the 2 that I've mentioned that were starters both at Virginia Tech and Northwestern. We think that makes for a very competitive spring.
I know this time last year we'd heard just how beneficial this time period was for a freshman like Ahmad Bro to put on weight and add, strength to his body. I'm just curious, early reports from the strength and conditioning staff, if there's any freshmen that have stood out in that department this year and just kind of what that looks like.
I think across the board, the ability to put on good weight from a nutrition standpoint and train the physical elements necessary during this period of time. I don't think there is a freshman that we feel has not met that challenge in terms of coming in at mid-semester. I don't want to point out any one individual, but all of them have meet or exceeded the kind of growth chart, if you will, that we put in front of them. And that's really encouraging.
Just want to ask you, you picked up, I think, 3 local kids, the quarterback at U-High, Picarella, Chauvin, and Silas Hall, the deep snapper. When you add guys that grew up on this and love this and you add them to their program, I mean, what positive is that for you moving forward?
Well, I think you just look at, the roster itself. We want to be able to pull our base. Our base starts in this greater Baton Rouge area and continues throughout the state of Louisiana. So, look, with the new settlement coming down, and assuming that it does, your roster is going to be tightened. The numbers are not out there yet, but I can tell you that if you're a walk-on in this program, you're looked at as a scholarship player. Because the numbers are going to be scrutinized when it comes to the sports. So all of those guys can play here at LSU, can help our football team, and we want to continue to find those players in the state.
I guess it was in December, you were pretty outspoken saying that y'all were going to be aggressive in the portal, and then you had one of the best portal classes. I'm just curious, your personal view of where LSU, your program sits with all the changes of college football, portal, NIL, maybe kind of where y'all are now versus where y'all were even 6 months ago, a year ago.
Well, I think I would begin by, how do you use the portal, right? The portal is set up for, either giving kids an opportunity to play the game where they are not in a position to do so, i.e. if players leave here, they're looking for opportunities to play. The transfer portal allows you that. It also allows you the opportunity, if guys aren't meeting the elite standards of your program, then they may have to find another place to settle. On the other side of the portal, you can certainly build a roster and help your roster. I don't want our roster to be built through the portal. I would like it to be topped off. This year was a little bit heavier. We felt more across the board and evident 8 on offense, 7 on defense, and 1 special team, that we needed more depth and more experience across our roster to be a championship roster. So I believe that the portal has served us from that perspective in terms of additions and others that have left, that we strengthened our program. I think we've made incredible strides relative to NIL and the importance of how monies are raised and making sure that our fan base is educated about that. And I think I've been at the front of that with the $1 million match. And so I think all of those were in a much better place than we were, say, 8 months ago. Our roster, our staff, our focus on NIL, our ability to raise money for NIL have put us in a position where I know our program is now poised to be a championship program.
Coach, with Tamarcus Cooley, the safety from NC State, what did he sort of bring to the table that caught your guys' eye?
Well, I think when you're looking at that position, you're either trying to get a third corner on the field or you're trying to get the next best safety on the field, depending on how you play that position. He can do both. So his versatility, his ability to play man, his ability to run down plays really stood out to us. And an experienced player at that position. We're not very experienced at that position. Going into camp, Juwan Johnson was a backup, and that's a true freshman. So having an experienced player at that position allows, again, and I think I said this earlier, allows Blake many more opportunities to do the things that he needs to do on defense. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.